Okay, so EA just dropped a pretty big update for F1 25 called the Sports Update. Now, this is an update they do at this sort of time every year, and basically they add in... Oh, good, yes, of course, that's the timing of that particular bug, which is clearly still in the game. 3.5 minutes after I launched the game lags like mad. That still exists. But yes, the main thing of this patch are updated F2 cars, so the 2025 F2 cars, which for the last many years in a row have come later on in the patch. F1 car tweaks, so visuals, sponsor adjustments, and potentially any performance tweaks, and then any other bigger changes. Previously, we've maybe had a handling change or whatever else. According to the patch notes, there's no handling change. The AI have been updated, though, so I'm going to be trying all of that right here today. Let's see how it all is. Here they are. It's a nice change, sure, but, like, whatever. I like talking about sponsor changes. Like, fine, make them accurate. I'm not complaining, but it's... To me, it's whatever. That scores on the wheel cup of the Williams is definitely different. That's the other thing that stood out to me so far. They're significantly different. But other than that, yes, there's the new updated cars. Fine, whatever. Let's now also check the performance of the cars. Now, this wasn't mentioned in the patch that they have changed anything with the performance. So that to me says they haven't. So let's have a look to see if we think it's realistic to real life what it is now, which apparently is unchanged. Williams already had the wheel covers. Very good. Very good. All right. Here's what I know then. Williams are higher than they used to be, and Alpine is lower than they used to be. It's time to check the game code. That's fascinating. I thought it was going to look absolutely identical to what it was before. It's not massively changed, don't get me wrong. The answer is no. The files haven't changed. Nothing, according to the files, has changed performance-wise, which lines up with their patch notes. This has changed, though, compared to what I've seen previously. What I've seen previously had Alpine... Basically, Alpine and Williams pretty much were swapped in the one I saw previously. But what may have done, they may have just updated the way they calculate the performance, because, of course, it's not perfect. I mean, how do you define an entire car performance in just one graph? It's not possible, because it changes track to track. What if one car's got really low drag, but really bad downforce? They'll be rapid at somewhere like Monza, but terrible at somewhere like Monaco. It's not really possible to quantify in a graph. They do their best, but it may just be that they've changed the way the graph works out more than the performance. But the performance of the cars has not changed, which to me, I don't know. I mean, look at that order there. Does seem representative, to be fair. Whether the cars are actually the order you've seen there is a different story. Now, I am actually going to do, in a separate episode, I am going to properly test the cars, test their straight line speed, test their high speed cornering, their low speed cornering, etc, 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 their acceleration, whatever else. I'm going to try and do that in as a fair way as possible across all 10 teams, because we have got a realistic performance series of season of creator series coming up. So it'll be interesting to see exactly which car's got the lowest drag, which car's got the best cornering, etc. So do get subscribed or followed for that, because that'll be, well, I'm doing that live tomorrow. It should be coming very, very soon to YouTube. But that'll give us a much more precise answer. But to be fair, I feel like that order is pretty representative. It's not perfect. Another what we're going to do is we're going to very quickly probably rule out F2 changes. Now, they have got new F2 cars. There we go, F2 2025. So it's all the new, I say new, it's all the teams and drivers. All I'm going to test is, do these feel exactly the same as the 2024 F2 cars that were in the game previously? They had an opportunity with new F2 cars to make them feel better, nicer, whatever. Let's see if they feel any different. It's a simple question. Let's go find that out first. Now, I haven't done that much in F2, it must be said. I have done some in F2, but not much. Initial reactions, I feel like it is a little bit different. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit more reactive. A little bit less lazy, and a little bit like easier to catch slides like that. Previously, slides would sort of spin you quite easy. I feel like it's moved a bit closer to the way the F1 cars handle. Hold on a second. Let's check these files. New tyre physics. They've gone from the 2024 tyre physics to 2025 physics. Now, that's all the information I've got right now. So annoyingly, I haven't got a copy of the old F2 tyre compounds file. But as it's using a 2025 compound, or like naming, I mean, they could have just renamed it. It could be the exact same information, but they've renamed it. They may have changed the F2 tyre physics. Maybe. It did feel a bit different to me, but that could just be me having not raced F2 that much, or it could be placebo. It could be anything. I know Ben Daly has raced it recently, for example. Adam Sanderson raced a lot of F2. Those guys will probably know straight away if it is different, but to me it felt a little bit different. It's not fundamentally different. That's why I'm sort of struggling a little bit. It's not massively different. It's like tweaked. It just feels a bit closer to what F1 has got compared to what F2 has got. Just a bit more forgiving. Like, F2 cars are quite unforgiving, really. They sort of slide and spin a bit more readily than the F1 cars do. And I've always preferred how the F2 cars feel compared to the F1 cars. Now, of course, we'll be using the new AI, which we'll get onto in a minute. We'll compare it properly when we get into the F1 cars. It's not a massive change either way. It's if you love the F2 cars, or hate them for that matter, it's not going to be different enough for you to change your opinion on them, I don't think. I think they still feel alright. But like there, see that sort of slide? That sort of slide before would be a bit more leery with the F2 cars. But it doesn't, it just feels a bit more forgiving now. But again, this could be complete waffle. They might be exactly the same. What I will say is definitely AI a bit better in F2 compared to F1. I'm not able to make any progress here. Yeah, I feel like it's more forgiving. I don't know. I feel like it's more forgiving. Anyway, F2 2025 cars in. Not massively overhauled. Maybe a little bit different. Who knows? I'll try and find out. Just before we get onto the AI, I mean, they have done a number of fixes. To be honest, none of these I really care about. I don't know if you guys agree. I mean, they're fine. Like, yeah, cool. Like, I'm never going to complain about bug fixes, but there's lots of others in the game that I would like them to fix. Or like even quality of life improvements would be nice. Just things that like make the game a bit easier to play in certain ways. I mean, an ongoing bug, for example, would be the icons or future sessions. If you're in a qualifying session and you look at the forecast for the race, the icons will be the same as your current session, but the percentage chance of rain will be correct for the future session. That bug's been in for many, many years. A good example, there'll be loads more examples of kind of regular bugs that just haven't been fixed year on year. Even like adding the knockout mode, what do they call it? The elimination mode. Allowing us to do that in open lobbies, like that sort of thing, like surely quite an easy change to make, or the weird penalty system they're using that, allow us to use that in open lobbies as well. Things like that, like stuff that's quite low-hanging fruit. Like, I feel like every update that they make, barring the like kind of rushed one straight after release, could do with some quality of life improvements to make people actually care about the updates. To be like, oh, that's quite a nice change. Do you know what I mean? And like, don't get me wrong, this has obviously got AI and stuff, which we'll get into in a second, but like, I feel like it could do more of those sort of smaller tweaks that people go, oh, that's nice. Anyway, let's move on to the AI. Now, I was really hopeful for this because I was hoping they would not only increase their pace, because at 110 AI, they are not quick enough this year, nowhere near, but also hoping for a bit more consistency track to track. At this year's game, for some reason, they are wildly inconsistent track to track. Some tracks you will genuinely struggle to beat 110. Other tracks you'll be beating them by, I'm not joking, 2 seconds a lap. And it's not just Monaco. Weirdly, Spa is an especially weak track for them this year. And there's also lots of oddities within them. The penultimate corner at Monaco, for example, for some reason, they were just really, really slow on that exit. To the extent that you were like, you could literally overtake them. You could out-drag them on the exit, which you never see in real life. Definitely a few oddities. And obviously also hoping for some just general kind of improvements to them in terms of their race style and things like that. And, you know, everyone's moaning they're always OP on exits. So apparently, what they've done is, they made them more OP, or better, improved them on corner entry, but reduced their performance on corner exit. Now, unfortunately, the end result apparently is the same dry lap times as before, which I am very, very disappointed about, EA. Very disappointed about. There is a not insignificant number of players that are locked 110 and basically cannot play the game properly because it's 110. Me, myself, for example, my team career mode, the only way to make it playable is to choose the 10 hardest or best AI tracks. So I'm not allowed to race someone like Spa because I would just win the race, and that would be rubbish if I'm in the 8th fastest team. And also run default setup. I can't run setup because it would give me maybe a second a lap and I'll be demolishing them. That sucks. That sucks. And it's not like I'm an esports level player. Don't get me wrong. I'm fairly like decent, but like you're ignoring a significant portion of the player base. Hello, we exist. Why are the AI so bad this year? Anyway, apparently they haven't changed that. I'll test it in case, because maybe they have snuck in a cheeky little update. And in particular, I want to see if they're more consistent track to track and if their exits are less OP. Let's do all those tests now. Okay, well, decent dive bomb straight away. Oh, Mercedes on the inside. I did get clipped in the rear. He sort of slid into me, but that was a decent dive bomb straight off the bat. Now I'm all over him. Now, we're basically going to hyper-analyze these AI as if they're sort of new. Oh, God. Yeah, sort of diving in on me a little bit there. That has definitely changed behaviour. They are definitely braking a bit later, but I clearly braked later than him there. Now, they are obviously relatively cautious at Monaco. There is certain tracks. Oh, God. Oh, hello, run the outside. Yeah, nice. Nice. They are still going to be cautious. Certain corners they basically refuse to go side by side in because it's just dumb to do so. And I like that. I also like the behaviour that they back out and move sometimes on this year's game. Now, this is one of the corners that they weren't great at before. It's a bit sluggish on exit, but that's okay. Now, bear in mind they're supposedly worse on exit. Remember, it was the penultimate corner was the key one. They were just terrible on the exit. Come on, Antonelli. What have you got? Yep, still absolutely terrible on exit. Are you joking? Oh, man. Have they even really looked into the actual issues? Or have they just have popped a cheeky little patch on to make it look like they're doing something without actually doing anything. It's not, don't worry, it's not like there's thousands of creators that are making content on the cars and tracks that you can use to research. Or it's not like all of us play the game a lot who could be asked for our opinion and we could be like, oh, hey, this is where the AI are bad. Thank you for asking. No, that doesn't exist. Let's just do things that seem like we're doing it. There. Let's see. Can we overtake one exit? Not quite this time. But like, he's literally holding me up though because he's so poor on that exit. Remember, I'm running default setup here, guys. I'm not running a trick setup it's giving me loads more grip than AI. I'm running default, which in theory is pretty much the same as AI's. Pulling me up again now, but that's okay. I'm just a bit quicker at this section. Do some ERS there, that was unwise. Oh, that's a centimetre try and carry on the speed. I'm too far back, surely. No, I'm not. Okay, turns in on me though. Nice. I honestly don't hate that turn-in behaviour. Although I feel like I was alongside enough to deserve some room, I actually don't hate that behaviour because I was barely alongside there. In real life, you probably would get turned in on as well. That's kind of all right. That's kind of all right. But I'm going to call it glitch because it is just glitch. They shouldn't be that slow on any exit. Those two exits alone cost them probably, I mean, easily half a second a lap. Just those two exits alone. Let's go try Spa. Spa, for some reason, this year is their worst track, and I'm normally a couple of seconds a lap quicker than them at Spa for some reason. Realistic performance cell, by the way, but the worst car in the grid. See how we can do against AI. As always, AI, look, defends much heavier against the player than each other. Oh, I didn't mean to go alongside signs, but here we go. Very early on the brakes there. Okay, yeeted them into turn one. Oh, we're going to be a bit slower in a straight line in the Sauber. They'll brake pretty early as they're near each other. Oh, they are going 3 wide. I was going to go there, Hamilton, but fair. They're still 3 wide. Oh my god! Yeah, fair. That all behaviour was actually entirely realistic, entirely fair. Ooh, it's accidentally said to Hamilton. Okay. And the other thing is, the AI do not feel dirty air. Now, don't get wrong, that'll be a computational limit, because consoles in particular won't be able to compute the AI's dirty air as well as the players, right? It's just a straight up limitation, which is absolutely fine. Nice. But you could simulate it. You could simulate dirty air. You could literally program to go, hey, when I'm within... thank you for the nerf. What was that? Thank you. Cheers, Lewis. Appreciate that. You could simulate them going, oh, when I'm within X distance of a player, I'm going to have less grip. I'm going to go slower through the corners. Right, let's see if we can bring the fight to them. Remember, we're in a realistic Sauber, which is probably something in the region of a second a lap slower than the top cars. I mean, so far, the changes that they've made to them, I'm not feeling that much. I'm not feeling like they're massively more aggressive into the corners and less good out of it. I mean, I am gapping a Red Bull behind me, but it is Sonoda. Come on, I at least want 2 more positions. But to be fair, I feel like their raw race pace is a little bit more than mine right now, maybe. I am in a Sauber, so you'd hope so, but... Good. 9/10 off there. Oh, God. Sorry. I mean, they do brake pretty early into there, but I also brake pretty late. We sort of met in the middle. I'm not as quick as I expected to be on this track. But I am in a realistic Sauber, and I am holding my own with the front runners. So it's still an issue, clearly. The AI are not fast enough. But this track doesn't seem to be a ginormous issue like I was expecting it to be. Right, how much later can it be on the brakes and them into here? Let's find out. 8.5 tenths back. Yeah, they're still terrible on the brakes into there. I don't know, it's honestly hard to judge because the ERS is the dominating factor here. I feel like they're a little bit quicker, but I'm sort of comparable to them. I'm still way higher than I should be in a Sauber, but it's not, the difference is not as stark as I thought it might be. I've got dirty. Oh, of course, dirty air is a huge factor as well. Yeah, they don't have dirty air with each other. I honestly thought I'd be the fastest person to feel comfortably and make my way through to the podium. That didn't happen. They're not as bad as I thought at Spa, but they're clearly still not great. And they need to be quicker. But I feel like this is now maybe a bit more typical of all the other tracks, possibly. I'm not too sure. But still, P8 as Hulkenberg. Now let's go try one of their stronger tracks. Now, Miami was known as one of their strongest tracks. The first sector, in particular because their tyres don't overheat, because they've got locked tyre temperatures, that hasn't changed. They were just OP in that sector, and the exit they got onto the back straight was an absolute joke, and it was so hard to do anything about them because of that. Now, apparently, their exits have been nerfed, so let's see if we can hold remotely our own at Miami. Sort out, lads. Don't be side by side, please. Oh, come on. Cute. Flying a little bit. Oh, God. Totally understood into him. Exit wasn't OP there, but I did kind of squeeze in wide a little bit. Don't know why I'm quicker in a straight. What's interesting is, right, suppose this update makes them better on corner entry on the brakes and worse on exit on traction. What's interesting is, whenever you're side by side with them, they seem to suddenly learn the abilities to brake loads later. So it's been clear for ages that they can brake super late. They were just choosing not to in most situations. We'll tail on the brakes into there, so that hasn't improved. I very nearly lost DRS then. It really feels like not a lot's changed. I'm using all my battery, everything I've got. Literally cannot do anything more than this. Default setup. Equal cars. Oscar was still able to outdrag me slightly, but he did have a bit of slipstream. See you later, Kimmy. Avoid the clerk. To just do. And we're good. That's me peaking pretty much in the first sector. They're still getting away a little bit. Oh, I am not very good at this corner. Again, I just get DRS. Honestly, if you just put me on this game right now and didn't tell me anything has changed, I wouldn't notice anything has changed. If anything has changed, it's not noticeable, and it's the most minor of tweaks. It's done essentially nothing to them in the dry. So, Russell, no dirty air, no DRS. Let's see, I might even struggle to stick with him here. One battery here, just try. I'm not going to DRS. There's no way. No way. No way. All right, well, let's see then. If I haven't got DRS... Yep, battered. Oh, I was going to try and see past Hamilton. Okay, we're yeeted. Yep, nice. That behaviour still exists then. Cool. That's fair. They still do that thing though where they turn in when there's someone alongside them. As you can clearly see me so right there. They turn in too early and hit the wall, which bounced them out into you. They've always done that. That hasn't changed. Another race to Miami. It's completely different to the last one. Now, we haven't tried it in the wet yet. The wet is going to be interesting because that apparently is a much bigger difference. So let's see if we can bring the fight to now in the rain, possibly. Let's try it. Now, we're on equal cars once again, guys. We've got on the McLaren, but it's the same performance as everyone else. That's a lot of wheel spin. Is there any different on this exit? Yes. The worst on the exit, I think. But what I just saw there, the exits are absolutely spot on in the wet now. That was interesting. We had virtually identical exits then. I had a bit dirty air, so maybe my mind should have been a bit worse, but... Slightly late on the brakes. Slightly later on the brakes than me into there. I think they've nerfed them too hard on the exit. But not by much. I think this is much closer now to where they should be in the wet. I'd say in the wet now, at least at Miami, they're very close to what the player's able to do, both entrance and exit. I think this change is very decent for the wet. And look at the deltas people around me. I do tend to beat them on the exits a little bit. In particular, I seem to get on the battery much earlier than them. Is that their only change, maybe? They don't get on the battery very early in the wet now? Well, let's have a look, shall we? 25% charge. Yeah, no battery, no battery, no battery. No battery at all on exit. No overtake battery, at least. Once again, I'm pretty sure Max wasn't using any battery there. Yeah, no ERS overtake being used. I think that's what they've changed in the wet, is their ERS strategy. I do think they've nerfed their actual traction as well. But maybe they were just using overtake like ridiculously early in the traction zone before or something. Oh, he CLA'd me. He CLA'd me. No, we're having it. We're having it. Thank you. Up to podium again. So, I mean, it's pretty clear to me that in the wet, at least at Miami, I'm quicker than the AI. But in the dry, I'm a little bit slower than the AI. I think this change is more aimed at the wet, but it's not changed. Really? I mean, of all the things they could have done to the AI, all they've done is made them a couple of hundredths quicker on the brakes and a couple of hundredths worse on the exit. Are you serious? Is that the extent of what we're capable of in terms of AI update? Now, look, it's a yearly release. I wasn't expecting a ginormous overhaul, but the AI's got some genuine issues this year. Not only are they not fast enough, but like the bugs we showed earlier at Monaco, they just don't accelerate on the exits. They just get in your way. Whatever is causing that to happen is a bug. It's an issue that should be resolved for this year's game. I can almost guarantee you now that this is it. The AI will not be changed until F126 because it takes a lot of time and resources to retrain the AI. So any changes they make to the handling or the AI, they have to retrain the AI, which is a very expensive, both in terms of time, money, whatever, computational power process. So I guess what I'm just surprised, if they're going to retrain the AI, they haven't worked harder on them. And that sounds brutal, but the fact that me as an experienced player can play the game and not really see any changes in the dry surely means they could have done more. They could have gone further. Surely. So yeah, overall the sports update, F2 cars added. I do think they've changed the tyre model a little bit. I do think they feel a little bit different. 2025 livery updates. They haven't changed any of the performance of any of the cars, but the liveries have been slightly tweaked apparently. Apparently AI has been changed. In the wet, to me, in the wet, they clearly have been changed. I think that's the only successful change to AI is they are now where they should be in the wet. They've been nerfed. They're no longer OP in the wet. Like that is a nice change. Other than that, nothing's changed. Can't be disappointed about the sports update. I think they could have done a lot more. Literally, right? Fix the bugs, like Monaco and Spa in particular, where they're just weirdly slow, and add a 115 level AI and the wet weather changes they've done. I'd instantly be like, yeah, like brilliant, like good step forward. I'm not asking for the world here. I'm not asking for a completely overhauled AI. I'm asking for tweaks. I mean, I'm asking for small improvements here. But anyway, it is what it is, guys. Sports update for F125. Yeah, bit disappointed. But the changes they have made are positive. I don't think they've made any bad changes. It's not like they've gone backwards and made the game worse in any way. So that's good. But yeah, underwhelmed. Underwhelmed is probably a better word for it. Underwhelmed by the F125 sports update. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already, because we are doing that realistic performance test very soon to see the exact differences between the different car performances. So do stuff for that. Catch you then.